Hello out there in Anderson Township and beyond. This is Anderson Community Television. I'm Kyle Densler, and I want to welcome you to this August edition of Anderson Speaks. We want to welcome back a guest that we haven't had a chance to chat with for a while, but we're happy to have her back. With me is Bonnie Morrison, and Bonnie is the Tri-State CART Executive Director.
Yes, sir.
Bonnie, nice to have you back on the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Now, I kind of have already misspoken or misled the folks at home because it's not just you here with us. You have a sidekick with you.
My sidekick is always with me, Sherman. He is a Pomeranian Shih Tzu mix, and he has recently gone deaf. So he can't hear us, so you can tell him he doesn't look good or something if you want.
We can say whatever we want. It's not going to hurt his feelings. Now, remind us, CART, County Animal Response Team.
Yes.
And that is a tri-state effort. And last time you were on, I think it was a year or more ago, we discussed kind of a tragedy that happened in Adams County.
Right.
So there's some very pertinent things. And you've got some more stuff to share. So real quick, let's talk about Sherman. You said he recently went deaf.
Yes.
How old is Sherman now?
He is 11. He had an ear infection, and we put some medication in his ears, and it ate holes in his eardrum. So it wasn't a medical condition, it was a condition caused by medicine.
Wow.
So I've taken
correct medicine or just a reaction? Or?
No, it was a correct medicine, but I don't know why, but the vet doesn't either. But he is now deaf.
Wow.
So.
I know how he feels. I jumped in a pool a couple of days ago. Now I have a hole in my eardrum.
Oh, great.
So, but hopefully I'll fare a little better than Sherman, but he's still cuter than me. So, how has it been adjusting with this? Is there new tricks you're having to teach this old dog?
Yes, I am. Because he can't hear me, I have to get his attention for him to respond to commands. And I was at an event over the weekend and met a trainer that he had when he was a puppy who gave me an excellent idea. And this is an excellent idea, guys. First of all, I went to the drugstore and I got him one of these ID collars that says it's a medical alert. I don't know if you can see that or not. And on the back it says his name and that he's deaf, so that if he should ever get away from me, hopefully never, but the person that finds him can realize he's deaf, he cannot hear. But there's a collar he was telling me about that has a little buzz to it. It's not the shock collar, but a little buzz. And I can buzz him to get his attention. And then he can focus on me where I'm trying to teach him the hand commands for come and sit and stay and stop. And so I put him up against me so he can hear my vibration, so he knows he's still hearing his name. It gives him comfort. So
a lot of sound is the feel of it as well.
Yeah, it's the motion, the vibration of it. So, like if I walked up to him and he was asleep, I can stomp, I can clap. He doesn't hear it. He doesn't feel it.
It's like my kids.
So I have to touch him, and then of course he's just ooh, hello, and but yeah, there's several things that we can do with our deaf and our blind pets, and we're going to have an event in September that we're bringing this special trainer too.
Okay.
And he is going to do a presentation, so if anybody out there in the audience has a dog with these problems, they can come to the Stretch Your Mutts event in September down in New Richmond on September the 14th, and they can learn how to help their pet.
Wow. So what all is involved with this particular event? You said Stretch Your Mutts?
Stretch Your Mutts Paws by the River. It's our annual event. It's always held in New Richmond, takes up the whole street of New Richmond. It's got vendors, music, demonstrations, rescue groups, pets for adoption, and of course we are out there presenting pet disaster preparedness information. That's the main purpose of this event, is to get the community prepared. CART covers 31 counties around Greater Cincinnati, Indiana, and Kentucky, so we always are out there promoting CART, promoting disaster preparedness, demonstrating our disaster go kits, so that people will have that ready and be aware of what they need to do if New Richmond floods a lot.
Yeah, I was saying it's very pertinent.
And then last year we had the southwest tornado that went through Moscow and some of the areas. And so...
Well, not to interrupt, but for context purposes, and let me know if I'm remembering correctly, was CART kind of birthed out of the situation that you experienced when you were down with the aftermath of Katrina?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We came back from Katrina and said, what's here? There was nothing here. The laws said if there is a disaster, that the animal control agent is in charge of that disaster, but it fails to tell that animal control officer he's in charge when he's hired. So until we speak to them and tell them if there's something coming up, you're the resource. And there's usually one person, and they can't handle a disaster plus their normal, regular job. So we are like their hands and their feet, and we go to the areas that they want us to go to. We set up the temporary animal shelter. We care for those pets. We have them medically checked if they need care from the local veterinarians. And then we do everything we can to get those animals reunited with their pets.
Wow, so what you're saying is you're not coming in with your own agenda or
Correct.
possibly reinventing the wheel. You're partnering up, which sounds very efficient, and you're able to be an extension of what's already there.
Right. That's why I like in my presentations to use an old wooden cart with a big spoke wheel. And I always say cart is only one spoke of this wheel that turns this wagon that gets us out of the disaster.
Awesome.
So we work together with the police, with the firemen, with the animal control officers, with the community as to what their needs are, and then we provide them. Example with the Southwest tornado, we did not have to set up a shelter. The word was out. People have been through the floods so often here. A lot of people are prepared. So we did provide 28,000 pounds of dog and cat food.
Wow.
And some horse food to all of the surrounding areas that were impacted, and we set up a point of distribution thanks to Circle Storage up in Amelia, donated as a big storage facility, and we put the food in there, and we promoted it in the paper, and people came and got their food. They didn't care how much they took because they were taking it for themselves as well as their neighbors. The ministers came and took it and put it in their churches for the parishes to come. We sent it to some of the local human food banks that were being set up for the people. And then when we felt like we'd reached as many that way, there weren't enough people coming. So we then took the food in caravan mode to them. We drove to the areas, and we drove into driveways, and we passed out food. And they were very appreciative because they had no idea that we were even out there providing this service.
Well, that's awesome that you guys had such a supply that you could do that. And what I appreciate about the story is just being able to trust folks to come and take what they need and not feel like they're abusing it.
And when it was over and we felt confident that all the people had been serviced, whatever food was left, we sent to the community animal shelters with the caveat that any food would be first given to any of the victims that would be told, go to there because we're shutting down. So they still had an opportunity to get food. Because as you know, disasters take a long time, and people are working with insurance and FEMA, and it takes forever to get back in their home. So by the time that they're ready and ready to restock, they would have still had access to those foods.
Awesome. And we're jumping a little bit around in the narrative, so let me kind of focus us back on some recent things you've done. You recently met with the Ohio and Michigan Red Cross State Director.
Yes, sir.
To discuss working with CART groups, establishing a partnership.
Right.
What has come out of that?
Well, we gave them a presentation of what we offer, and we explained how important it is people will not evacuate without their pets. So for them to set up a human shelter with the Red Cross and not have a co-shelter for the animals, you're not going to get all of the people to come. And what happened in Hurricane Sandy when I was there, the Red Cross, someone made a public announcement, all Red Cross shelters were pet friendly, and that was not the case. So you had a lot of the public driving from place to place, getting more frustrated, getting more depressed, until they could finally find our group that was set up to take care of the animals while they stayed into the Red Cross shelters. So that was the purpose of this meeting, because the failure of what happened with Hurricane Sandy brought it to a head at the national headquarters for Red Cross. And they knew me from being at various Red Cross events, because I also volunteer with them. And they contacted me, and we met them and gave them the presentation of, we don't need anything from you. We have the equipment, we have the trained staff. All we need is a safe place to put the animals very near to the public wherever you're setting up the human shelter. So they are working on finishing that plan up, and there will be a state plan for Michigan and for Ohio. So we will
Very
always
cool.
have co-shelter.
Very cool. Can you speak to the reasons why it was human only, or are there any arguments people have made against including pets?
There is a very good reason for human-only shelters. Human-only shelters, if you think about it, and you're allergic to a pet, you have medicine and you're stressed, and you don't have your access to your medicine, and you don't have anything left, and you're on a cot, and somebody would come in with a barking dog, or you're allergic to a cat and they have a cat next to you, or there could be anything. It could be a bird that chatters. It could be anything, and sound level in the shelter goes way up. The stress level goes way up, and the health and cleanliness of the property could be in jeopardy. So some of the shelters have the ability to separate pets into a different room or building or out in the parking lot, but keeping them there with their owners, but not inside sleeping in that building. So that's the main reason. It's health, sanitation, human stress factors. So that's always been a big concern with the Red Cross, and they do support the animals, but they have to take care of those human beings first.
Absolutely. What are some kind of big events, other than what you've shared so far, that have happened over the last year? I think you guys recently held a mock disaster exercise.
Oh yes, that was so much fun.
Was that a disaster, or was it a success?
It was no, it was a success,
Good.
and a lot of people learned a lot of things and had a great time participating. We held it at Marjan Kennels down in Batavia.
Okay.
They allowed us to use their property, and we pretended that there was a flood, which is not unusual for that area, and we had to evacuate the building within 45 minutes.
Wow.
And so we did have some live animals, but we did not use the Borders animals. We used our animals. We used stuffed animals to simulate the disaster, and we brought in our truck, and we did it exactly like it was a disaster. No pre-communication with any of the volunteers. So they showed up just knowing that they're being asked to help in a flood and not knowing what was expected of them. So we had our briefing meeting. We went over protocols, safety. We went over counting the animals to make sure we got them all out of the facility, and we did a clear all on the building. And then we had a section where we set up the cages to put them for their pretend animal shelter. And we threw walnuts around and said, oh, somebody just made a poopy, you know, because that happens.
You got to clean it
And
up.
you got to clean it up. And so we had every scenario. We had a dog that got sick. We had a dog that had puppies. We had
Wow.
a dog that was in a fight with another dog. We had every scenario that actually happens in a disaster was part of this exercise, so that the people got to experience what stress level they're going to be under, how to stay calm, how to react, and what is the proper protocol to handle this situation.
Wow.
It was a blast.
Sounds very comprehensive.
Yeah, it was really
Do you
fun.
feel like it was really hit the mark on what a true experience would be like?
Absolutely. We tried to make it as realistic as we possibly could. We even had the police department came.
Oh, wow.
And you know, came in and checked on us, and they were our pretend security system because we have to have security. And it was amazing. We had one of the media stations came, and you know, you always have to be cautious with the media because anything that we might say could be misconstrued. So there's a protocol for when the media shows up that they're be brought to the leader of the event, and that all the facts are correct, and then they're guided through the area so they can see and ask questions and get their questions answered correctly. So we had that go on. It was very, very well
smart.
done.
Sounds very well done. Wow.
Yes.
I've got a question about something else. Are a couple of the board members looking to become, cowboys, or what's this cattle and sheep herding business I've heard about?
Wow.
I'm sure the folks at home are just like, what is going on?
We are highly trained, in every kind of animal handling that there is. All of our volunteers, depending on their skill level and their desire to help animals, can elevate their skill levels. So we offer all these classes. So another girl and I, we went and took the Department of Agriculture.
Oh, so you're one of the cowgirls
I'm
here.
one of the
Okay.
cowgirls.
All right.
And we went and took the class on cattle and sheep herding.
And this was, where did you take this?
We took this up in Ohio, Upper
Okay.
Ohio, from the Ohio Department of Agriculture.
Okay.
And there was 3 of us from our cart group, and then there were some others from the other local cart groups, and then there were veterinarians and technicians, and anybody who would be handling livestock was welcome
Okay.
to take this class. So we took the class, and lo and behold, the next week I got sent to Oklahoma,
Really?
and I became a cowboy in Oklahoma. And there was a steer that had gotten loose. The fence is broken down, and we were checking on a herd. And the herd, its fences were broken down, and it was meandering all over the place. So we were checking on their health, and we were trying to call the state veterinarian to come. There were a few injured. And while we were trying to find the owner, we went into this home, and they asked us if we could help get their one lonely, only little bull. Had gotten out and was mixed in with this big herd that we were monitoring. So she comes back and she says, the animal control agent from Oklahoma, and she says, well, since you just had your training, would you like to practice
There
your
you go.
training? Sure. And so my partner and I happened to be the same pair that when we were in Brazil had to trap 2 bulls.
Oh, wow.
So it's ironic that her and I are always together, and we get the cowboy scene.
Wow.
But we separated the little steer, and we got him back into his little pasture. And the
So,
owners
paint the
were very
picture here. Are you on foot? Are you on
Oh,
horse?
the picture is
And
hysterical.
this is, do we have hats and boots on, a
We
lasso
have
and
boots
gloves?
on.
Okay.
We asked the gentleman for a rope. I made a lasso.
Wow.
I taught him how to not rush the bull. He had 2 sons. They were trying to run at the bull. Well, that tells the bull they're predators, and so he's continuously running. And so we had to, get him under control. Slow down, listen to what we're saying, and we'll get your bull for you. So I made the lasso, and we corralled him into one pen and didn't realize the other end of that fence had blown down. So he got out.
Oh, geez.
And so then he goes back into the herd, and we go get him again. And now we're on foot, and grass is up to our waist.
Wow.
And there's ruts from the farm fields and stuff. So, and we're trying to keep our balance and get the bull and calm the bull and take care of the family. And it went into one of those oil pump wells.
Huh.
And it was around this oil pump well, part of the fence was down, so we had the sons hold up the fence when I went inside to corral the bull so I could get the rope lead on it. And we finally got the rope lead on it, and the bull, by this time, its tongue was like huge. It was drooling. It was just so scared.
Yeah.
And it was not taking its eyes off of us, so it walked backwards all the way
Really?
back to its field, watching us. And that was perfectly fine. But he was going, and he walked. But I did stop and take a couple pictures. I'm not in them because I'm taking the photos, but they're on our website of our cowgirl experience.
That's awesome. We have like a minute left, so give us that website where people can go check it out. And if there's any last-minute notes you want to throw about things coming
Okay.
up, go ahead and do that now.
We are at tristatecart.com, and that is our local group. And then these pictures from Oklahoma are on kinshipcircle.org. So I work for both organizations, CART's local, Kinship Circles national and international. And you can see all of these pictures coming up. And I would like to remind all the folks out there that we are having our major event September the 14th. It's in honor of National Disaster Preparedness Month. And we will have booths, demonstrations, a parade, and the funniest one is going to be while the kids are walking their dogs, we're having a fuzzy slipper contest. So anybody who has kids with fuzzy slippers, pull them out, go to the Goodwill, go somewhere, buy some fuzzy slippers,
Have some fun.
put them in the parade, and let them have a blast.
And Sherman will be there, right?
Sherman is always
We're
there.
not disrupting Sherman, are we?
Oh, no, no.
Hey, Sherman, thanks for coming today, buddy. Bonnie, it was great to have you. We're all out of time, but I can't wait. I look forward to you coming back on.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, she's got to go, but we'll be right back with the next guest, so you stay put. Welcome back to our next segment. I want to warn you folks at home, there is no need to adjust your TV sets. We're going to be dealing with some dazzle here. With me, I have 3 guests. Let me introduce first Kathleen Hartshorn, and she's the owner and coach of Generation Catalyst, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then girls, you can let everyone at home know who you are.
Well, let's see. I have been twirling since I was 9. I am a 3rd generation twirler. My grandmother twirled, my mother twirled, all my aunts twirled. and so I've been twirling since I was 9, and I competed all through grade school, twirled through high school, and then I got to be featured twirler for the University of Cincinnati through college.
Awesome.
Which is awesome. And I was actually living out in Los Angeles and moved back to the area and had some little twirlers that were interested. And so I started coaching, and now I have Generation Catalyst.
So something that you were good at, it was a passion for you,
Oh,
and now you
yeah.
have an opportunity to be investing in.
Yeah, it has been awesome. It has blown up beyond anything I could have ever imagined.
That's
So
awesome.
it's been a lot of fun, though.
Let's meet some little twirlers here. On
Yeah.
the end, we have her proper name, Isabella, but you go by
Izzy.
Izzy. Izzy, what school do you go to?
I go to Air Elementary.
All right, Anderson native. And how long have you been twirling?
For 2 years.
For 2 years. All right. I'm assuming that you like it.
Yes.
Cool.
A lot.
Cool. Because we're gonna have lots. I want you to tell stories. We're gonna have lots of questions about that. And then your partner in crime here,
Kaylin.
Kaylin. Is that how I say it? Kaylin. It's got the 2 N's. Just Kaylin. Okay. And Kaylin, where do you go to school?
Air Elementary.
So you guys know each other.
Yes.
Okay, it's making sure. And how long have you been twirling?
I'm going into my 3rd year.
Third year. Wow. Awesome. Well, let's get to this. I'm not just the bling on your costumes, but we've got a lot of bling here in front of us. Got a lot of sparkles and dazzles. Tell us the story behind these 2 honkin' trophies.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, you go.
Okay. Well, just recently, the 2 girls competed at Mid-Eastern Regional Championships through the through USTA, which is United States Twirling Association, and you know, they had been winning in beginner all season, and I thought I'd throw them in advanced and see how that went, and it went really well. So they won 1st place, and so their title is Mid-East Regional Juvenile Pairs Dance Twirl Champions.
Wow. Does that all fit?
I don't
That's
know.
why the
Let's
trophy's
see if
so
they have
tall.
it.
They could put all
Mid-East
in there.
Regional Dance Twirl Juvenile Pairs. They have
There
all
we
of that
go.
on there. It's pretty amazing. So they did
Yep.
awesome.
So let's tell the story that got them to this point. You touched on it. You were out in LA living the hard life of a professional
yeah.
twirler, trying to make it big. Came back to Cincinnati, and what was the catalyst that kind of started this whole thing? And,
Well-
and where'd you get the name?
So we'll start with the name.
Okay.
Well, actually, you know what? No, we'll go back.
No, I'm already mentally committed
Nope.
to the name.
I'm going back
Dang it!
because it'll make sense.
You're losing 5 points.
Hang in there with me.
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
actually, I had been teaching her since she's my cousin. So I had been teaching her here and there little tricks, and she was at her birthday party, and somehow they got into the conversation of baton twirling, and she wanted to do baton twirling. So her mom contacted me, and then I found out that her mom used to twirl, and I was like, that's really interesting because her mom used to twirl. And like I said, my mom used to twirl, and the other sister, Debbie, used to twirl, and my grandmother used to twirl. So I thought, that's pretty wild. We have all these generation of twirlers, and so I thought generation should be in the name of our team, because it kept coming up that a few of our other students were second and third generation twirlers.
Awesome.
So that's how we got Generation Catalyst, and the Catalyst is spelled with a K because my name's Kathleen, Catalyst. And, with me, the way that I choreograph is a little different. It's more funky and dancey, and I kind of wanted to be a catalyst in the twirling world to kind of, change things up and not be, when you watch movies where they have baton twirlers, it's all, they're marching and not really doing anything, and they're kind of stiff, and it's not really, it's kind of like, oh, okay, there's a twirler.
Almost make it a little silly.
But man, if
Yeah.
you ever get to go to a baton contest, I mean, you'd be blown away by the things that these athletes can do. And that's kind of what I wanted to bring to the table, was kind of be that catalyst in baton twirling.
So honor the tradition, and
Mm-hmm.
honor kind of the legacy there, and also kick it up a notch.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep.
So you're at a birthday party, you whip out the contracts, you sign these rising stars.
Yep.
What happens next?
Well, let's see. They started doing private lessons where it's just me and one student, and we started doing competitions, and both of them started raking in the trophies and
Wow.
having a good time. And then, we just started getting one more student at a time. We kept just gaining more and more kids that were interested. And this past year, last summer, they went to the Ohio State Fair, and they won the Ohio State Fair Pairs Champions
Wow.
for juvenile, which was pretty neat. That was their first big pairs contest. And then this past year, we were able to start a twirling team, which was pretty neat because you have to have at least 4 kids. And so we started that up, and they're doing Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Yep, we have 4 little girls dressed as Beetlejuice on the floor twirling.
Like the show that came out when I was a kid.
Yeah, like the movie that,
Yeah.
Yep,
Michael
so.
Keaton and everybody.
Exactly, yeah. So I worked out in LA and actually in TV and film, and one of my really good friends does audio mixing, so he mixed together a bunch of music from Beetlejuice and a bunch of movie lines from the film and put it all in there. And then we also have a trio that competes, and we call them the Little Monsters, and they're dressed as zombies.
Awesome.
And
It's the zombie baton clips.
yes,
I don't know,
exactly.
I'll work
I
on
like
that
it.
and bring it back later.
You're gonna go with
Yeah.
that. And they've actually been undefeated all year. They have
Wow.
yet to not walk away with the trophy, and they are the beginner and intermediate Ohio State trio champions. So
Wow.
yeah, we definitely. I think one of the most entertaining things, because when you compete, you get tapes from the judges, and one of the most interesting things that comes from all the judges is, oh my gosh, this is so different. We were used to these pretty princesses coming out, and here's little girls dressed as zombies, full makeup. And then, then comes out Beetlejuice, and they're in full makeup, and they're just like,
Awesome.
we love this. This is crazy. We've never seen anything like this. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to be different. There's something different out there, and they have a blast with it.
So you guys are sitting at this party, like, this cake's really good. Do you guys want to dominate the baton world?
Yeah.
Is that how this went down?
Essentially, yes.
Wow.
Yep. So, and they've just had a blast. What did you get at Ohio State contest this year?
A corn dog?
A corn dog. You got first place in beginner in basic strut and military strut, which is essentially you're marching in a square and marching in an L. And then
We'll break down a little bit. What are some of the different ways you can compete in baton competitions? Because I know that, or twirling competitions, I know kind of the stereotype we talked about before the taping was that sometimes, the baton twirlers are shown as like some nerdy person with a marching band. It's like a bit of
Yeah.
a joke in a movie. But how robust are the competitions? What's all included, and what are the different ways that they can compete?
Well, there are multiple organizations. There's about 4 main organizations throughout baton twirling. We stick to USTA, And what they can do, I mean, when they start out in doing strut, which is marching. You can do solo, which is a routine to music that they pick. It's the same music for everybody, and it's about 1.5 minutes long. You can do dance twirl, which is focused on twirling with dance moves.
Okay.
And so you can go through that, and you go through novice, beginner, intermediate, advanced levels. And then what they also have, which is pretty amazing, is that they have world team where each year there's, I think, 7 people that make world team, and they go to another country, compete against all the other world teams. And with USTA, we've been working really hard on getting it into the Olympics, and we're actually getting really, really close to finally seeing that goal of getting baton twirling into the Olympics, like rhythmic gymnastics.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I know that rhythmic gymnastics is in the Olympics. What event in rhythmic gymnastics do you think most closely resembles twirling?
Probably, I don't know what it's called, but it's where they're with the ball.
Yes. Yes.
So essentially that, because I mean, I would say that's the closest, because when you watch it, you see them tossing up and doing tricks underneath it, doing body work with it, and that's essentially what baton twirling is. I mean, you can.
Just it's more fabulous.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Much more
Yes.
fabulous.
Much
No, but
more
they
fabulous.
and it's not only that. I mean, it's like you get to choose what kind of path you want to go with baton twirling too, because I mean, you can go through, you can compete on the main levels and not have world as your main goal. It can be to twirl for a university. There are a lot of universities across the country that offer major scholarships for baton twirlers,
Really?
and that's just amazing. I had the best experience twirling for the University of Cincinnati.
Well, what sort of things, or in what capacities did you represent the university as a twirler?
Well, we did all the main football games. We got to go to all the bowl games. We marched in all the parades.
Very
So
cool.
we represented, and the feature line, the feature twirlers. I mean, we're what goes out first with the band, and the twirling line has really grown in the past few years. I mean, from where with every year they've had just phenomenal twirlers come on the line and whatnot. So it was definitely an amazing experience getting to twirl and represent and be on that field and know that you were twirling for the Bearcats as a Bearcat. And so that was just an amazing experience that I was able to take with me. And not only that, you build such an amazing relationship with all the other twirlers and all the other band members. So it was pretty amazing.
Very
It was
cool.
awesome.
Girls, let's talk about practice. Because I know for whether it's piano or sports or anything, especially for younger kids, practice can get tedious. How do you, Kaylin, approach practice?
Not really sure.
Do you look forward to it?
Mhm.
All the time, always?
Yeah.
Your mom's never had to tell you you have to go to practice. Your coaches never had to say you better practice. I don't feel like it. I don't want to today. That's never happened, ever?
Well, a couple of times when I
Oh.
get sick.
Oh, only when you're sick.
Yeah.
Coach, is this true?
She's actually pretty good at wanting to practice. I mean, she'll put in an hour and a half a day.
Really?
Yeah, she'll go out there.
Well,
And
Kaylin, I,
just
I
like-
stand corrected. My apologies. Atta girl.
She's pretty good.
You.
This one.
How do you do? And you tell the truth.
I'm really fascinated to practice every day for Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Sundays.
So those are the days
Yes.
that you're like,
Are
I love
you
practicing.
staring at me?
Don't look at me.
So on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays are your main practice days? Is that what I got? So if I call you on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, you're not going to be available because you're going to be practicing.
Well, we have practice for about an hour or something.
We have lessons on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and
Okay.
Sundays.
Okay. So those are your lessons. But how much do you practice on your own outside of that?
About an hour.
Well, good, good. And what's it been like for you guys? Well, let me ask you this. Before you competed at some of these big events, have you done anything like that before, whether it was singing or anything else? Have you ever been up in front of that many people? Have you ever competed in anything like this?
Yeah.
You have. What was it?
I've done plays.
Okay. So this wasn't as a huge transition for you. Do you feel it's similar, or is it a lot different than maybe being on the stage?
It's a lot different.
Because you don't have things flying at your head when you're acting? Is that the main
And they're not
difference, or-
flying at my head. It's kind of, how do I say it?
When twirling, you're on the floor essentially by yourself.
Yeah, and I don't have to remember all these lines. But I have to remember my routines, and I've done pretty well with that.
What's harder, memorizing lines for a play or memorizing your routine and not dropping the baton?
Memorizing my routine.
Really?
Yes.
Sometimes she'll go out on the floor and I'll be like, I don't really know whose routine that is, but she's doing pretty good, so.
She's in the improvisation group.
Yes.
That's what it is.
She's like she'll like remember her routine to a T. And this one will just like go out and you're just like, I don't know what we're going to get today, but I know it'll be good either way.
It's
So,
gonna be awesome. So, Caitlin, you hadn't done anything big like this before. What's it like when you're out there? Are you nervous? Do you notice the people, or are you kind of in the zone?
Sometimes I'm in the zone, and sometimes I'm a little nervous at big competitions.
Has it ever, do you feel like that nervousness has ever affected you in a bad way, or do you think it helps, or do you not worry about it?
I don't worry about it.
Atta girl. Atta girl.
I think her first contest, we were getting ready to get out on the floor, and she's like cool. She's all collected, and she's like ready to go out on the floor, and then like they go to announce her name, and her like eyes bugged out of her head, and I'm like, okay, just breathe, breathe, breathe. And then she went out there and she did an awesome job. This one, it's like she'll go out and she'll practice really hard, but when she goes out on the floor, she performs to this like other degree that you're just like, okay, so she saves it all for the floor. And this one is just, she rocks it out all the
Dead
time too.
on, like
Yeah,
consistent.
it's just, that's the thing with twirlers. And that's the thing with, I think, any athlete that you work with, is that you just have to figure out how to work with each kid individually, because there's no one's alike in the way that they learn, in the way that they practice, or in the way they perform. So it's just figuring out how
How
to
do the
work with them.
different dynamics affect when they're together as a pair?
Well, it actually works for them because they really communicate with each other while they're on the floor competing. So, you know, she'll be saying like, do the one spin, and she'll get that, or it'll be vice versa, where she'll say something to her. So they communicate the whole time they're on the floor.
Are they synchronized when they're doing it, or do they take
Oh, yeah.
turns?
They're synchronized.
Synchronized. So you can't improv.
No,
No.
she cannot improv on pairs.
Is it harder? Do you
Or
think
team.
pairs is harder for you, like team, or is it just the same as individual?
I think pairs is easier for me than team
Why so?
because they don't have as many people on the floor with me
Yeah.
Have to worry about bumping into people and
that
stuff.
I have to worry about dropping.
But you don't feel there's a big difference between pair and then when you're solo?
No,
Oh, that's cool.
I don't feel a big difference.
So we only have a couple minutes left. So my question is, what's next for you girls, and for the team in general,
Where
and
we
for
going?
you, coach?
Well, so towards the end of August, we're going to start tryouts for all of our teams. We are going to have a primary team, which is ages like 0 to 8, and then a juvenile team, which is 9 to 12, and then hopefully a senior team. And then we're also going to do some trios too. So we're going to have tryouts for that, and we're going to have a big, large team where anybody that wants to come and twirl can join the large team and have fun on one team and see how they like it.
Awesome.
And so we're going to have our tryouts for that at the end of August, and then we're going to start choreographing in September, and competition season starts back up in January.
Awesome. Awesome.
So,
Well, you guys will have to come back and update us on everything. You had a birthday last month, and you have a birthday this month. So happy birthdays.
Thank
I'm glad
you.
to have you on the show, and I wish we had a cake. I didn't know. I'm sorry. But this has been Kaylin, Izzy, and Kathleen Hartshorn, owner and coach for Generation Catalyst. Like I said, please come back. We want pictures. We want updates. Sounds really cool, and I'm just glad to see you guys out there and being champions at something. That's really awesome. So thanks for coming.
thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
We'll be right back. I want to welcome you back for this final segment of our August edition of Anderson Speaks. We have a special guest that's returning with us. I had the opportunity earlier this year to sit down with Luisa Cerda to discuss the experience she had with her son Jose and what led to her founding the Jose Cerda Aquatic Foundation, of which she's a current board trustee member. So, Luisa, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you for, first of all, sharing last time you were here and for following up with us. So, can you give us a brief kind of overview of what you shared the first time, of what happened with Jose and what led you to starting the foundation?
Okay, well, Jose was a Sycamore senior, and he was practicing with the Cincinnati Marlins. And as part of the regular swim practice, he had an arrhythmia, which led to his death. It's called sudden cardiac arrest. So, I mean, it was totally unexpected. I mean, because I had done EKG, I had done pretty much, I mean, everything that you do in terms of, I mean, physical checkups. But he always complained a little bit about shortness of breath. That's why we did the EKG in the first place. But other than that, I mean, I wasn't expecting that to happen. So I was here last time trying to create awareness with the AED Heart Savers group about, I mean, young kids, I mean, doing a lot of sports and perhaps, I mean, suffering sudden cardiac arrest.
And if I remember correctly, despite even despite the shortness of breath, the doctor said we really can't determine how this happened or what it was?
After the fact, I mean, I follow up with genetic testing to see if there was any syndrome or any, like, I mean, you also read the autopsy, and there was nothing in the autopsy in terms of physical, nothing genetically in terms of, I mean, a syndrome like LQT or short QT or whatever. So, I mean, maybe to this point, we don't know what that is, but what we do know is that, I mean, he had an arrhythmia based on what the doctor said.
Which was was it a skip or a shutdown of the heart?
I think the heart beats faster. It doesn't beat at the rhythm that it should beat. I don't know if it's faster or slower, but it doesn't beat at the rhythm, and that's where you bring in the defibrillator to really bring it back into rhythm.
Okay, okay. And how has that gone with that awareness and when trying to move in the AEDs? What success have you seen?
I mean, I'm not so close to that. I mean, when he died, I really want to concentrate more on what he loved, which
Gotcha.
was pretty much water polo and swimming. But obviously, when I'm approached by, I mean, organizations who are focusing on creating that awareness, I support them and I help them.
Good, good. So I'm sure that it's worked out for them. So tell us about the foundation itself.
It was established in late 2010. Jose passed away on October 26, 2010. So late in December, I applied for the state of Ohio. We were established with the state of Ohio, and then I follow up with the IRS to get the 501c3 nonprofit status, tax-exempt status. So we got that, I mean, believe it or not, I mean, a year to the date of Jose's passing.
Wow.
So we got the IRS determination letter back as a tax-exempt nonprofit organization. And since then, pretty much, I mean, the purpose of the foundation is to support swimming and water polo teams, improve competitiveness of their athletes, and foster unity among teams. That's
Awesome.
really what the foundation is all about.
And that's what Jose loved.
He loved water polo. I mean, the minute he started playing, I mean, he really was very passionate about the sport. It's a team sport. Swimming is, I mean, even though they have relays, it's more individual, but water polo pretty much was, I mean, his passion.
And you got to be in some good shape to play that sport. You are constantly treading, constantly keeping each other up, and you're dealing with other men trying to basically drown you at times.
Exactly. I mean, so that's why swimming is so important, because swimming gives you the physical components. I mean, you are in shape, and the water polo, I mean, gives you the coordination, the ability to really skip the opponent and try to place the ball in the goal.
So since its inception, what sort of things has the foundation been involved in, or what have you been able to do?
Okay, I can count my blessings because we have had a lot of support, and we've been able to focus in bringing home programs. So in the past, before this foundation was established, I mean, the kids had to go to the West Coast or the East Coast if they really wanted to get into a camp. So we brought a camp to Cincinnati where they can get premier instruction. This year, for instance, I mean, we're having Brenda Villa. I mean, she is the captain of the water polo USA national team, the gold medalist. So she's coming on July 19th to the 21st. So that's the kind of instruction that we're bringing down to Cincinnati. We didn't have any of that. The kids before had tournaments, and they had to go to perhaps, I mean, like Worthington or go to other places to participate in those tournaments. We're bringing the teams to Cincinnati.
Very cool.
So it's, I mean, St. Louis, Philadelphia, Chicago, Georgia. So we're trying to bring that home. So obviously by bringing it home, it's less expensive for the kids, and they have an opportunity to play more throughout the year. So that's been the area of focus of the foundation. We've established 3 programs. One is the water polo tournament that I mentioned about, the water polo camp, and a swim clinic. So those are the 3 programs that we've established.
Very cool. Is there a specific team that you guys are involved in, or is it more of a general thing?
Say some more what you mean by a specific team.
Like, is there a Cincinnati-based team that you guys help sponsor or work with, or are you there more for just teams in general?
In general. I mean, the beauty of this is that we're working with every single high school, every single club team to unite all of them against a common goal. So when we have the swim clinic, it's open to any swimmer with experience. I mean, this is not to start learning, it's people with experience, and they can improve their skills regardless of their affiliation, club or high school affiliation.
Awesome, awesome. What have you seen as far as participation? Are there more people involved in this than a lot of people would know, and have you seen that involvement grow?
That's a great question, Kyle, because water polo is not so well known in the Midwest. Like San Francisco, that'll be a hotbed for water polo. So we are creating awareness about the sport, and we're seeing it grow. So for instance, I mean, we're seeing the numbers of kids registering for the camp going up every year. The tournament, obviously, I mean, is creating excitement, so people want to play and participate in these games. And for the first time in Ohio this year, we have teams that can go to California to participate in the Junior Olympic Games.
Wow.
Before then, if there were talented kids, they had to play for Michigan or any other state. So the fact that we've been able to create the critical mass for the first time this year and have 2 teams, the boys teams and the girls teams, qualify for the Junior Olympics in California says that we've seen the growth in the last 2 years.
Wow, so you're not just assisting and helping, but you've actually created a very strong platform and an opportunity where one did not exist before.
Exactly. I mean, it's almost about creating the foundations. For instance, there is a club team called Moose Water Polo that now provides, I mean, training year-round. So if you were playing water polo, you had to participate in the fall season in your high school, and that was about it. Now they have a spring season, a summer season. So the more you play year-round, the better off you're going to be as an athlete, and obviously more competitive.
What is, to me, it seemed obvious, but I could be wrong. Are lack of facilities the biggest hindrance to people engaging? I mean, having the right kind of equipment, having a pool. I mean, kind of like golf. You can't play golf unless you have a golf course. Basketball, baseball, you can play it's kind of freer. Is that a big issue people have?
Well, obviously, I mean, pool space. I mean, pool cost is the biggest cost in any, I mean, of the sports, I mean, that I support. Like, I mean, it's either swimming or water polo. When you look at the cost of a program, the rental of the pool is one of the biggest expense. We've been very fortunate, though. That has not been a limitation because we've been working with Sycamore High School. We've been working with the Montgomery Swim and Tennis Club, with the University of Cincinnati, and we find ways to find pool space. In fact, I mean, the Mason Community Center is going to be hosting the swim clinic this year, so we always find that. I would say it's more about creating awareness, and the minute the kids start playing, I mean, they become in love with it. So it's more about the awareness at this stage.
Just making the connections and not to debase it, but kind of marketing it, saying, hey, this opportunity is here, and you're saying people just need to know that, and then that's kind of what's fueling this growth.
Right. I would
cool.
say that'll be at this stage. Maybe in the future, that'll be a nice problem to have. Like, I mean, we don't have any pool space. But as of now, I think it's more about like even creating awareness at a very small age. Like there is a program called Splash Bowl that many kids are not aware of.
So again, you have teams that you've been able to support that have qualified for the Junior Olympics. I mean, give the folks at home a sense of just how big of a deal that is. I mean, how many people do you think are trying to be on a team like that, and then they select how many?
Typically, I mean, about 12 kids get to go. So obviously 7 in the water at any given point in time. I mean, they have, people who come in and out of the water, but yes, it's not a huge amount of people. You need to go and play by zone. So for instance, for the Midwest, you go and play, let's say in Michigan or Chicago, and then the top 5 move on to California. So yes, you need to be competitive, and this is the first time that we've taken teams that have moved on to the next phase.
And how do they get these teams together? Is it a group of people who know each other in Cincinnati? Is it the best of Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana, and they come together, or is it like regional and they work through other teams? How do they get there?
So for instance, Cincinnati would have a club team, which is the Moose team that I told you. I mean, it was created to help get the kids from every single school, Milford, Princeton, Mason, Sycamore, St. X. I mean, they get them together and they're playing, and then they compete against, let's say, Worthington or any other teams. And then as they pretty much advance, they move up in terms of ranking to be able to qualify.
And this opportunity just wasn't there before.
No.
Very cool. How's that make you feel?
I mean, I feel like, the work is paying off. I mean, when you see the fruit of your labors, obviously there is much more to do, but you can see like very clearly, after 2 years, very specific accomplishments.
So you had a specific vision, and you feel that you are either there or you are on that path.
We're moving towards that goal.
Very
There's
cool.
much more work to be done, Kyle.
So are there any other ways that, like, especially student athletes are benefiting from this outside the opportunities? Obviously, they're getting to be involved in a sport that they love more, but are there ways for folks to be involved in things like this that offer just a health benefit overall?
The good news is like the swim clinic, for instance, has a parent track and a swimmer's track.
Very cool.
So the parent gets to hear about college recruiting. So if you're going to swim in college, you get to talk to all the coaches from OSU, University of Cincinnati, Xavier, Miami University. This year we'll have them all on October 27th at the Mason Community Center. So the parent gets to have those coaches and talk to them and see what's required to swim in college. So they get that opportunity.
It's a big deal to have them all in one place.
All in one place.
It's like, hey, this is legit. This is big time. People are recognizing it.
And all of these people are volunteers. So that's why I'm saying I owe a lot to all the people who've come to this cause and supported it. So they donate their talent, their time to be able to give back to the community.
As far as the October 27th swim clinic, you said it is at the Mason Community Center. Where can folks go to get more information on that?
They can send a message to programs@jcafoundation.org.
Okay.
And they can ask questions in terms of details. We can send them the program, etc. In fact, we're going to have big Olympians there. And the same people are returning from last year. We had, like a British Olympian, Simon Burnett, Whitney Myers. And what we're trying to do, Kyle, is bring people with ties to the area. So Emily Bruneman, Whitney Myers, David Moscow, Scott Usher. We're trying to bring all these people who are Olympians and have ties to the area or have roots in the area for the kids to be, so that it's very concrete. It helps them see, this is very real. I can do this.
This has happened for others. It's not just some crazy fancy. It's a legitimate opportunity. Very cool. So if they want information, they can go to, you said, programs@jcafoundation.org. If they want to contribute, support, volunteer, how can they get involved? How can they contact?
They can go to the website, www.jcafoundation.org. usafoundation.org. In that website, there is a foundation section. If they scroll down all the way to the bottom, there is a PayPal button, and they can donate. So that's one way to do monetary donations. The other way is definitely, we're looking for talent. So if you think, of PR or grant writing or any skill that can be put to use in a nonprofit, definitely, we're more than happy to have it.
Awesome, awesome. And what's next?
Obviously, I have a lot of plans, and together with the board, we're trying to make things bigger and better. So, for instance, you see the tournament, we expanded to girls. This is the first year, it's always been boys.
Awesome.
That's how it started. Now we're doing girls in 2 different pools. Like I said, the Montgomery Swim and Tennis Club is hosting the boys, and the in UC is hosting the girls. So
Wow.
the tournament is expanding. The camp, we're bringing Olympian for the first time. She was the captain of the USA national team who won gold in the last Olympics. For the swim clinic, we're extending that to a full day to incorporate more kids and younger age kids.
Awesome.
And so we have 2 groups now. So, there's endless possibility to keep growing, and hopefully, with the support of, all this great community, we'll continue to do so.
Not to ask a possibly stupid question, but as far as the focus, do you feel like you focus like age range? Is the main focus on like kids in high school who are getting ready to go to college, or is there a benefit before and after that?
There is always a benefit to start as early as possible. Obviously, I started the foundation with the high school kids because that's really what my son was all about. But we're trying to expand that younger and younger because you can break bad habits at a younger age.
Mm-hmm.
You can introduce the sport at a younger age, the Splash Ball program that I mentioned to you. So
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of benefits to going younger. The way we started is because there was a lot of pull of the whole community trying to come together. A lot of Jose's friends in high school, credit to them. They've really supported many of the efforts that we started.
Awesome. And speaking of, I want to share this real quick. You gave us these T-shirts. What is the story behind this shirt? I'm going to hold it up right here. It says Day of Remembrance, and it's got a picture of your handsome son here. And the back is very interesting. We have a globe, and then it's got just a mass amount of locations all over the world. And it's got a date here. What is the story with this?
All his, peers in high school, they started wearing red the date of the anniversary. It was his first year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
But then as they move on to college, they created a Facebook page where pretty much, they were still wearing red the following year, but they were all over the world. So what I did is I collected all the places and put them
I can
on
tell
the
by
back.
here there are a ton, and it sounds like he had a lot of really good friends, and that's part of the success. Unfortunately, we are flat out of time, but Luisa, thank you so much for coming on.
You're more than welcome,
We need to
Kyle.
have you back, and you can update us on your continued success. And we'll be back with next month's edition. Until then, be safe, Anderson. I'll talk to you later.